absolutely sure that every time I give a lecture, every time there's a kirtan, every Sunday feast, every program, every class is just absolutely convincing. There's absolutely nothing that anyone can put against Krishna consciousness. Nobody else can give what we're giving. So after 40 some years, now what fuses me is less, in those days I thought there would be no resistance. Everyone would just kind of fall over and become devotees. Now I'm tempered after 42 years of resistance. I'm just really stubborn. I mean, I see that, you know, you can present Krishna consciousness in an entirely compelling way to 1,000 people and they'll all walk away and not come back for more. But I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to lie down for that, and I'm not going to admit defeat. And for the difficulty, the leanness that we experience in terms of reciprocation, I believe that to the degree that it's tough, at some future time, either in this life or in the next life, we're going to get rewards. All those people that didn't come now, for every person that didn't come now, for every person that listened to the philosophy and didn't take it up, there's going to be a time and an opportunity and a circumstance in this life or the next life when, just by lifting a finger, 1,000 people become devotees. You know, now you give your life, and Prabhupada said, to make one devotee we shed blood. And now I think that's an understatement. But there'll be a time when we just lift a finger and 1,000 people become devotees. And I'm absolutely convinced that all this effort is going to reap results in due course of time, but it's going to be in God's time. And I have learned also not to be frustrated, and you may pick up some frustration in my words, but actually I'm not really frustrated at all, because I know that in God's time, Lord Chaitanya's movement will spread to every town and village in the world. There'll be thousands and thousands of people chanting Hare Krishna. But I can't pressure him. I can't make God go faster. It'll come not a day too soon and not a day too late. And I know that in my circumstance, in an area that's 90% Mormon, where in addition to Kali Yuga you have 90% of the people already earmarked for another religion, I know that my circumstances are especially challenging, and yet I wouldn't want it any other way. You know, I believe that in certain parts of the world, which have Krishna consciousness more a part of the fabric of their culture, you can do it not up to the highest standard, you can do it half-heartedly, you can make mistakes, and you'll still experience success. I believe that if some of the things that we did here in a really, really tough area were applied elsewhere, you would see unbelievable results. Areas that are successful, I believe they would become like mega successful. But you have to be challenged, you know, you have to be challenged. You have to keep your goal in sight, but be flexible in terms of your plans and your means of achieving it. You know, what might work for one season, you have to change it and alter it for another season, and you have to change it and adapt it and adapt it. And I think there's a lesson to be learned here too, is that when you're a beggar, you can't be a chooser. When you have so little to work with, you take anybody with open arms. When you are comfortable, you've got your constituency, maybe you can stick your nose up in the air and say, well, you know, we don't need these people, or we don't need these people, or we don't need these people, or they're Mayavadis, or they're something else, you know. But we've never had that luxury, and it's been a blessing, because we have to see everyone as a devotee, unless they prove. I think in a more cushy environment, some people, devotees, may have the attitude they're not devotees until they prove they're devotees. But in this atmosphere, we have to have survived. If we had had that attitude, we wouldn't have lasted a year. But we've had to have the attitude they are devotees unless they prove themselves otherwise. Everybody's a devotee. Catholic, Mormon, Christian, atheist, you know, everybody has a potential for doing some service, purchasing a meal, buying something in the gift store, renting some llamas, donating, or doing some service, or even if they can't do any of those things, they can just wish us well. We can't afford to incur the ill fortune of anyone, because when someone thinks badly of you, that puts out a negative vibration. And it will hinder you at some level, at some point in time. And so, I mean, that's what we've been forced to do as a strategy, but I really believe that inasmuch as we subsist by the good wishes of the public, we've been far too presumptive over the years about what the public can and should do for us. I believe we should show a lot more gratitude for America and for our environment and for the support that we get from the public, you know, and learn how to deal with the public appreciatively, every single member of the public, and especially anyone that walks through the door. It's interesting, we don't have any book distribution here per se. We don't have any Harinam. I think Harinam would be counterproductive in Utah Valley, not so much in Salt Lake City. But yet we have, the bills are paid, we've got money in the bank. We're as comfortable, if not more comfortable, than any other temple in America financially, and it's just on the basis of treating everyone with respect and greeting people hospitably. Both our temples have tours available, so when people come for the first time, every devotee knows they're supposed to give them a tour, take them around, show them this and this and this and this. And even if you have like a rented temple, a little small thing, I mean, obviously we've got something here that we designed and had in mind for a tourist destination, in an area where you have 90% Mormons. You're not going to support yourself on people becoming worshipers or full-time devotees. So our strategy has been to run it as a tourist destination, as a performing arts center, as a festival resource and all. And so obviously we're big on doing tours. But even the Salt Lake Center, which is just a school and it doesn't have anything architecturally recommended, we still say tours daily. And when people come, devotees say, "Are you here for the first time?" "Well, let me show you. This is the kitchen. This is the auditorium. This is the temple room. This is the land. This is the garden." And if you have a picture of the changing bodies, you know, there's a whole station at which you can spend 5 or 6 minutes and explain reincarnation. You can stop and explain the principle of the guru. You can stop before their altar and explain the principle of... So even with just however a modest place you have, you've got 5 or 6 places, even if it's only a picture, to stop and to introduce people to the elements of the philosophy. So every temple should have a sign that says tours available, you know, tour guides available, welcome, please come. You know. And another thing is when you have a tour, it puts people at ease. When you have a sign, it defines the parameters of your relationship. So people are coming in and the host is giving them information about the beliefs and so on and so forth, and so they're allowed to preserve some distance, you see. Otherwise they're just scared that you're going to grab them, they'll go in and they'll never come out again, you know. One guy, he's kind of a blue-collar guy, pot-belly. He wouldn't actually come in, but he stuck his head in the door, and then his little son stuck his head in the door, you know, lower down. He says, "How long do the tours last?" And I said, "Yeah, we can run you through in as short as 5 minutes, or you can, or I'm in the 43rd year of my tour, you know, so which would you rather do?" He says, "I'll take the 5 minutes." You know. I said, "It can be 5 minutes, it can be 40 years, you know." Just joking. But most people like to know before they go in that they're going to be allowed to get out. So it's good to have tours available. And you know, all the devotees are out distributing books, telling people to come to the temple. When people come to the temple, there's nobody there. And whoever's there is too busy, they don't have time. I'm cooking, you know, I can't, you know, I'm talking to my Indian godbrother in Boston, you know, we're talking about how to get our green card. There's no time for greeting people, you know, and that's like putting the cart before the horse. If you can't greet people, don't go on Sankirtan. I mean, burn me in hell for that, you know, but I honestly believe that if you cannot receive people nicely, if you don't have the manpower to receive people nicely, then don't go out and book distribution. First of all, make sure you have a nice place to come to make a favorable impression. Then go out and encourage people to come. You don't go out and encourage people to come to a deserted building, or a building where no one's going to greet them. It doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, there's several things. If someone, you know, wants to build, first of all, I can't encourage people too strongly to build a temple, because people take you seriously. I mean, you know, one of the reasons we wanted to do this was so that people would listen to us. If you've just got a rented building and you're considered to be part of the fringe, you know, you can preach, you can exert all that energy to go to colleges and organize field trips and whatever, but people are only half listening to you. But once you build something like this, you get their attention. You know, it's so gratifying that for a mere $1.2 million, people are actually taking us seriously and paying us attention, you know. And I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, McDonald's spends like $5 million a year just to keep a good image, you know, with Ronald McDonald and stuff like that. You know, if a temple president in an area can spend $1 million to get people's good wishes and get their attention, I mean, he should consider that's like darn cheap, you know. So it's much more economical in the long run to commit to a project like this than it is to just go along hand to mouth, being regarded peripherally and irrelevantly by people in general. You know, whatever we spent here, every dollar that was spent was absolutely the best way that dollar could have been spent. And in fact, that's not why you have a gift store. You don't have it for the Indian community, but I consider this very, very important. And when you go to Salt Lake City, you'll see our gift store is twice as big as this one. And in the next temple I buy, the gift store will be 3 times as big. Because the gift store, it brings the Westerners. It brings them. The Westerners love to shop. They love Indian stores. And if you don't have a gift store, there's no hook for the Westerners. I mean, you can have classes and you have Sunday feasts and all, but the gift store will keep the Westerners coming back on a regular basis. You know, once a month or once a week or something. They'll just go, see what's new, see what bargains are there, see what birthday presents, something a little out of the ordinary. They get to know devotees. They talk to the girls and become friends. The girls say, "Well, why don't you come to one Sunday feast? You know, why don't you come to the restaurant?" And it all starts from there. Because people are scared. They're scared, you know, of cultism and all like that. And so, gift store is a great way to get Westerners in the habit of coming to your temple. And then when you get an integrated crowd, instead of you know, if you have a Sunday feast of 200 Indians and there's no Westerners, no other Westerners are going to come, or they might come once and they'll never come back. But if you can start that with a gift store, and the bigger the better, the more the square footage of the gift store is, the more money you're going to make. And it's the easiest way to get income for paying your mortgage. I mean, it's much easier than running a restaurant, you know, where you have to have so many people labor intensively involved every day, and then you have to calculate exactly how much food you're going to sell. Whatever you throw out is actually just wasted. But the gift store, you know, you can have an item will just sit there day after day after day, just have one person keeping an eye on it, and it'll generate as much as a restaurant. And certainly we need that income. And we need the Westerners coming and patronizing us, and then that's a stepping stone for Westerners coming back and getting more involved in some of the other programs.